Hey, hi, hello. This is Harshil, and today I am going to talk about what is open source. So basically, like if you have a software product or a software company, there could be two ways that you decide to continue with it further. The first way is that the source code is private and only you know and the employees in your company know that what you have written in code and whatever you are trying to do is everything hidden from the public or other developers or competitive companies. And the second way is that you put your source code directly into the public via certain platforms, for example, GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket or anything else. And then this source code is available for everyone to see, judge, analyze, learn, collaborate, and help you out there. So the second thing is known as open source, where the source code of any software is open. Now let me explain the importance that why open source softwares are really important aspects in computer science, basically, and not just limited to softwares, but this is very important aspects for even the protocols like Bitcoin and other hardware programs or projects as well. So just let's start with a very basic example that consider that I am a banking software and you will be having certain amount of money credited in my bank, and what I will be taking, like for in order to put money or do some activity on my software, we need to have your account, and your account comprises of a username and a password. So for example, what happens is that as a software company, I will be having my software where I will be taking your username and password and storing it into my database. So what happens is that if my company is closed source, I may decide that I will directly store your password as it is as you write. So basically, as a developer or owner of the company, I would be having your username, your password, and your personal details, whatever you give to me as a software, and I can access those data to maybe use your account and do the stuff which you are supposed to do, and only you should be doing it. But I can do it. But consider that in the case of open source software, if I write the shady code that does something like this, it's directly in public. And if something is in public, you can get caught red-handedly if you do something shady like this. So this is the benefit of open source program, that you cannot do something wrong. Like if there is a larger community and if someone wants to gain trust in you as a software or and even as hardware, for example, consider that I in my hardware I am writing certain code, like if your temperature level goes above some value, then it may stop in between or something like that. Or maybe even like consider that I am writing a hardware code where like whatever you type on your keyboard will be recorded onto my server in my backend, like directly into my database, and your if every typed out thing would be actually coming to me. But if the source code of my hardware is even public, that's the win-win condition for you, because you know that it's actually good, that I'm not tracking anything from your things. And the other way around is that as a company or as a software, I will be getting very good and real feedback directly from the developers or competitors or the people who are interested in similar research fields. So this is why the importance of open source software is pretty high in my opinion. uh, like if obviously, like there are certain things that if you want to draw a huge amount of money, I mean, like if you make it open source, every third person will try to copy it. But I think if you keep the money aspect a little bit different, like you can have your you can protect your specific things, like, and you can just ship it, because you have to build a best infrastructure to keep that closed source, but at least try to convince your users or your clients that you are not doing anything shady. This becomes important when you include the money into the game, or even if it's related to health or certain amount of data collections. So this is why open source is really important if you think from this perspective. Like, if you really want to know about how this open source thing evolved, you need to go back into the history and learn a bit about a guy called Richard Stallman, and the way he promotes open source is far better than any other person I have seen till now, because the guy has devoted his entire life saying people that software should be free. Like, he's one of the reason why most of the programming languages which people use are open source. Otherwise, the things would have been different moving down the line. But huge respect for Richard Stallman, and I think, like, if you are a new developer trying to like get into open source, it's not just about solving good first issues and only on GitHub, but it's way more and beyond what you can actually see these days uh, in the mind of an open source beginner. It's way beyond what you see on the GitHub or open issues. You need to actually understand that reading the code base is the most important aspect in open source. So I think I have this good skill that I can read the code base pretty well as compared to writing the code. Like, maybe I have worked with multiple projects, and that has given me an extra privilege to write the code as well. But yes, reading the code bases for the projects which are of my interest is a very good and interesting thing to do. Like, moving ahead in the series, we will try to cover that as well. But yeah, like, I thought, why don't I start with the basics of why open source is important and what it is in general. So this video was all about open source, and I hope that you will check out the Richard Stallman guide and the Free Software Foundation FSF, so that you know actually what open source is. And once you get to know about it and you are really passionate of building open source softwares, I think the journey ahead becomes very smooth. Like, it's not just limited to summer of code programs or something. It's way important. Like, if you think from the perspective of research and growth, I think this is the best thing happening in the last century, and maybe we can like continue and progress this further in order to build an ecosystem around and make things work it. So that's it. Like, yeah, thank you.